showtime, y'all. All right. Thank you for joining me today in this live stream. Today's t-shirt is Baron von Sexyful. If you are familiar with Super Art Fight in the DC area, you know exactly who this handsome devil is. I'm so glad that I got this shirt back at AwesomeCon. Ooh. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me in today's live stream. Today I am going to be drawing some dragons for the Never Ending app. If you would like to find out more about Never Ending, you can check out their website at beneverending.com. The intent with this app is to make it easier for folks who want to bring D&D sessions to visual life. It'll make it easier for you to do that. So Never Ending is basically like a storyboarding app that we're developing. The goal is to make it easier for you to animate scenes from your either role-playing campaign sessions or from a script that you're working on or anything like that. Hi, RathaCon. I'm so sorry that the real world event got delayed, but I'm so glad that you're running the virtual event. If you are interested in finding out about the RathaCon virtual Comic-Con, which is happening today, just check the doobly-doo down below. It's in the link to it is in the description. There's also another digital convention happening right now called CyberCon. CyberCon is doing a fundraiser to help disaster relief, to help with funding to help fight against COVID-19. So if you would like to find out more about that, link is also in the doobly-doo. Yeah, today I'm going to be drawing dragons and other monsters for Never Ending. Link on the screen right now. Doodly-doo, indeed, yes. If you would like to find out more about me, here is my website, kelseydcrawford.com. I am also running a sale today at Store Envy, link right here. The sale today is Johnson & Sir has been marked down. So has Dragons, a sketchbook, and so has Charlie and Clow, a bonus arc. I also have some framed dragon baby paintings for sale. They're each like 4 inches by 6 inches, and all of them are framed. All of them come with a frame if you buy one. All of that information can be found at kelseydcrawford.storeenvy.com. All right. I feel the need to mention this. I would like to lay down a couple of ground rules before I continue. For the last couple of weeks, I've been really loosey-goosey about running these live streams and like not having a whole bunch of rules as far as like conduct or anything like that. But I would like to lay this down now while I'm thinking about it, because there were a couple of uncomfortable moments the last live stream. So I would just like to say that right now, I consider myself on the clock. And because I am on the clock, there are certain topics of discussion that are just off limits. And that includes politics. So please, no talking of politics in the comments, because I am working and political discussions are really uncomfortable. And I'm saying this as somebody who used to work at caricatures at Cedar Point, and I had to like sit there and just smile and nod as people talk politics at me. And that's not a great experience. So I would just ask that you not talk politics in the comments. Same with religion. I would keep the religious talk to a minimum. I haven't had too many people try to talk religious comments in the comments section, but I figured I'd lay that ground rule just in case. Other than that, so I'll go ahead and say this too. If you do talk about those two things, I will give you warnings. If I have to warn you 3 times and then you ignore me and you make such comments a 4th time, I will ban you. Sorry. But after the 4th time, if you choose to ignore me, that's on you, dude. You know? I don't have time for that. So other than that, just comment whatever you want to in the comment section. It's fine. As long as you just keep it respectful. That's all I ask. So yeah, today, going to be drawing dragons. Let me just go ahead and open up this dragon file that I was working on. Oh, where's it at? I gotta find the file. There it is. Okay. So what I am working on is a copper dragon this time around. I did some of the basic pencils already. I still got to draw the claws and a few like scaly elements like the belly for sure. I've already drawn like a bunch of dragons for Neverending already, and I can show you those later on in the stream. But we're going to start with the copper dragon, and we're just going to zoom in. And oh yeah, the brass dragon was on the layer underneath of this, and that was just for reference. So, because I've already drawn a bronze dragon, which turns out bronze dragons are considered aquatic or semi-aquatic. That's an interesting fact that I had not realized before. Just enlarge the brush size a little bit. There we go. Okay. Do a couple of test swipes. That's too big. That's a bit better. So, okay. There may be periods of silence from me, but I will do my best to keep the discussion going. Oh, drawing on the wrong layer. Okay. Here we go. That's better. It's practically a meme at this point, like somebody yelling at a digital artist, "You're drawing on the wrong layer!" And then there's like shocked Pikachu faces. There we go. Kind of forgot how much I loved to draw dragons until I drew like, I don't know, 8 of them over this past week. And then I was like, heck yeah! Who summons me here? Madness! Madness, I tell you! My goodness! Is this Adobe Illustrator? This is a program called Clip Studio Paint. I should have given them a shout out in the description below, but Clip Studio Paint is my illustration program of choice, mostly because it is not a hard drive hog like a lot of Adobe programs are. It has some of the same functionalities as Illustrator, but not a ton. Like you can work in vector format in Clip Studio Paint. I just choose not to half the time. But you can work in vector format, and it actually is way easier to work in vector format when you're doing something like lettering a comic, which you can do in Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint is pretty much your software if you want to make comics for a living, because it does all of the comic stuff that you need. I'm working in version, well, I'm working with Pro, because there's 2 versions of Clip Studio Paint. There's Pro and EX. I do not have EX. I only have Pro. Pro has a lot of good functionalities to it. EX just has just a little bit more. EX also has more robust animation tools. So if I wanted to work in animation, which I'm considering, I would need to get into Clip Studio EX. EX has that functionality. Pro has some, just not as robustly as EX does. Oh, I need to get back into the pencil layer and add a few more details here, like I need to work on the belly a little bit more. I use Inkscape mostly because I do vector stuff. I totally get that. I tried working in Inkscape, and I had a couple of people teach me how to work in Inkscape, and then I immediately forgot the lessons that I learned. So yeah, I guess I just don't have the brain for well, I don't have a trained brain yet for working in vector programs, because vector programs are so very, very different from illustration-based programs like Clip Studio Paint or even Photoshop. I will say, making the transition from Photoshop to Clip Studio Paint, not as bad as I thought it would be, because a lot of the keyboard shortcuts are the same. A lot of the functionalities are the same. I would say Clip Studio Paint, the big difference between it and Photoshop is that Clip Studio Paint is exclusively for, or dang near exclusively for making comics. Photoshop is kind of a all-in-one package where it just has so many functionalities to it that you can use it for a whole bunch of stuff. You can also paint digitally in Clip Studio Paint. I haven't done too many paintings, but digital painting is one of those skills that I want to work on, to be perfectly honest. I signed up for a free workshop because I was like, hey, I'm in quarantine already. I'm stuck at home. I might as well take the time to work on some new skills and blah, blah, blah. And that hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping that those course lessons are still available to me. I'm hoping it's not like a timed thing. It might be a timed thing. I have no idea. I would also like to apologize if my throat gets really, really scratchy as the live stream goes on. I forgot to make tea before beginning the live stream. I have water. But if my throat gets really scratchy later on, you'll know why. It's because I forgot to make tea. Let's see. Oh, copper dragons have some kind of wackiness going on with the tail. Are you drawing with your mouse, and did you do the pencil drawing on paper and scan it in? I am drawing with a tablet. I'm drawing with an Intuos Pro tablet. I upgraded from a Wacom Bamboo, but I work with Intuos Pro now, and oh my God, I love this tablet. I also don't freehand anything, LOL, just shapes and paths. I totally get that. To answer the question of, did I pencil this drawing on paper and scan it in? That's usually how I do it. I did not do it with this particular copper dragon. This copper dragon, I actually penciled it. I actually penciled it in the program, and I'm working in layers. Here, I'll show you actually, because there we go. This was a brass dragon that I drew before. Increase the opacity so you can actually see it. This is the brass dragon layer. And then I just drew the copper dragon on top of that, using the brass dragon as like a base scale for proportion purposes. Doesn't always work. I remember when I was first beginning to draw the dragon sequences, I started with white, the white dragon, and then I drew the black dragon, and the black dragon turned out to be much larger than the white one. So, you know, scaling's imperfect, but this works. But also, for folks who just joined in on the stream, I am running a sale on Store Envy today. If you want to get your hands on any of my comics, there are some that are marked down. So go to kelseydcrawfords.storenvy.com to check that out. Whoop. Take my money, I don't need it yet. There's no pressure, absolutely no pressure. You're gonna have a bad time. Megalovania! Oh my God, my dude. I don't mean to assume gender. I call everybody my dude, but like, my dude, I have been listening to the orchestral version of the Undertale soundtrack, like almost on repeat for the last week. It's honestly, it's my Christmas music of choice. I'm weird, but that's okay. Anyway, back to penciling. Actually, before I go on any further, I need to get some visual reference for this guy, because I was working off of a reference for this. So there it is. Okay. Fun fact about copper dragons. Copper dragons, at least in the Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder mythos, they're considered tricksters. Like, they do have hoards, yes. You can ask them about particular treasures. The thing about them is, if they have a treasure and you ask if you can have the treasure, they won't tell you right away that they have the treasure. They'll tell you a roundabout way to like go retrieve it. They'll be like, oh yes, you have to go to this particular place and you have to fight this creature and you have to say these magic words, because they don't want to give you a thing. They don't want to like part with the treasure that they have, but they will send you on a wild goose chase. They're considered more chaotic good than lawful good. Most of the other metallic dragons in the D&D and Pathfinder universe anyway are considered good, whether that's chaotic or neutral or lawful. Bronze dragons are considered lawful good, I believe. Oh, Solar Flare, I love your JoJo references. I'll go ahead and display a new link across the bottom. Actually, I'll give a shout out to my friend Sean Langley. Here is his online store. He and I usually do RathaCon, and we, more often than not, end up seated across from each other or right next to each other. But if you're a big fan of horror comic art or, you know, zombies or anything like that, that's his thing. So you can check out his online store here. Big shout out to him, because with convention season having effectively been either delayed or canceled or gone virtual, as is the case with RathaCon, just big shout out to my fellow RathaCon artists, like my friend Sean Langley. Check out his stuff here on the screen. I'll leave that up for a little while. It's not my link, but it's his link. I wanted to give him a shout out because he is a cool table neighbor. I've always had good experiences being placed side by side with him or being like across the way from him. Like, he's a cool dude. Oh, I should turn off that human layer. The human layer was for scale. Yeah, scales, because I'm drawing dragons. Puns. I need to check my visual reference again for the... Okay. So many ridges. So many ridges. I'm not going to incorporate all of them. The thing about these particular dragon designs that I'm working with is that I am going to hearken to classic like D&D and Pathfinder, but I am going to make these dragon designs my own. Like, I recognize that black dragons have a particular like horn design that's pretty consistent across all black dragons, but the other details, I'm going to make them my own because I can. Improve the front arm a little bit there. I'm not sure that I like that particular style of back foot. Try that again. There we go. That's better to me. I like that better. Shape that back leg a little bit, give the indication that there is a back leg there. What do you call a three-legged cow? Lean beef. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. We love Sean! And you! I love you too, RathaCon. You are one of the best conventions that I have ever gone to, and I make it a point to go to you every year, not gonna lie. All right. That there was Sean's art. If you're a fan of zombies and traditional comic art and things like that, check out his stuff. Here is my store envy. I'm also running a sale if you like fantasy stuff, dragons, elves, goth punks punching golems in the face. Check out my store. I got stuff for sale. Can you just do an hour of bad jokes, please? Oh, well. I could. Love this. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Oh, boy. Well, if you want bad jokes, I did see the Vlogbrothers video of like 46 dad jokes in 4 minutes or less. And there were some good ones in that, not going to lie. Like, how long is dinner going to be? Oh, well, about this long. About. Or like, you're going out into the snow and you're looking and somebody asks, hey, what are you looking for? And you're like, oh, I'm looking for Will Smith. I hear he leaves Fresh Prince. I love me some bad jokes. Let's see. Did you hear about that explosion at the French cheese factory? There is nothing but debris. The world's loneliest cheese is all provolone. I totally understand if there are people who are just like, okay, I'm out because I'm just telling bad joke after bad joke. Like, totally understand. Let's draw that line better. Yeah. In inking stage, I'll improve that, but that'll work for now. Yeah, here we go. Cool. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Checking the visual reference again. Bear with me. Okay. Okay. That's it. Bad jokes are tight. Well, if bad jokes are tight, they need to loosen their belt a little bit. Oh, that's like, I found out that all of my shoes have holes in them. I mean, they have to. How else am I going to get my feet in them? Oops. There we go. Fix the oops. That'll work. Okay. Let's see. Just to give a general idea, I'll polish this up in the inking stage, but this is just a general idea of what the rest of the body is going to be like. There we go. Oh. There we go. Get them scales on them arms. Two whales walk into a bar. One whale goes, and the other whale goes, Steve, you're drunk. Go home. That one's one of my personal favorite bad jokes. That and horse walks into a bar. Bartender looks at the horse and goes, hey, pal, why the long face? And the horse says, I realize that my drinking problem is deeply affecting my family. I love me some anti-jokes. Anti-jokes are my favorite thing. For those of you who are new to the live stream, I am drawing dragons for Never Ending. We are developing an app to make it easier for folks to tell their stories for the artistically challenged. So if you've always wanted to do like an animatic of your favorite moment from a D&D campaign that you did, but you can't draw to save your life, Never Ending will make that a little easier for you. That's the goal. So check out beneverending.com to find out more info, to sign up for the email list before the Kickstarter launches and all that good stuff. They're also doing giveaways for folks who sign up for the email newsletter. So there you go. I'll leave that link up for a little bit longer so you can find out more about them and look at some of the art assets that have already been developed. But yeah, I'm drawing dragons for Never Ending today. I think that's good for now. I think I can start working on the inking stage because I've got pretty much everything else figured out. Yay. There we go. Save the progress made so far. Zoom in. There we go. I'm going to rotate this a bit though. Sometimes rotating the canvas is just, it makes drawing particular straight lines just a little bit easier. That way I'm working with my natural tendency and my risk rather than against it. Yeah. Let me check that jaw. Okay. I'm going to erase the lines a little bit so that I can better see where the jawline ends. Good God, that was a mess. Ugh. There we go. That's much better. Kind of want to hum the Never-Ending Story music now. Yeah, Never-Ending has that effect, and that's part of the reason why the app is named the way that it is, because Jamie, who leads the project, is a big nerd for Never-Ending Story. And that's why it's named the way that it is. It's like a kind of a reference to it. But Never-Ending, there you go. They're also on Twitter at @BeNeverEnding. And last I checked, they were still doing giveaways for folks who followed the Twitter account. So check the Twitter for more info on that. I will leave that up for folks who may be interested in that. Let's see. Here it is. I was like, my mouse disappeared, or the cursor disappeared. Gosh, dang it. Okay, hold on. The program just did an oops. It seems to have reset itself, so I'm going to just X the program out, and then I'm going to bring it back up and do it again. So bear with me for just a minute. Don't you love when technology is uncooperative? Okay. Okay, there we go. This should work this time. Open back up. Okay. Yay! Back to actual good pressure sensitivity on the tablet pen. That's the goal. Okay. It doesn't happen often, having to like reset the program like that, but when it does happen, it's just a pain in the butt. Taking a sip of water. A few weeks back, I was watching a live stream run by the folks who run Patreon, and Amanda Palmer was a guest on this. It was actually the Weird Streamathon. It doubled as a fundraising effort to fundraise for What the Fund, which was a fund started, and as far as I know, still ongoing, to help artists who have had events get canceled on them and are struggling to make ends meet. So What the Fund was started to help those struggling artists. And at one point during the live stream, Amanda Palmer was performing the Ukulele Anthem, which is one of my favorite songs of hers. And then she started like hacking up her lungs, and she's like, oh God, I was trying not to cough. Neil, tell everyone a joke. And Neil Gaiman comes on the screen as she's like coughing off camera, and then Neil just looks at the camera and he goes, in his very Neil Gaiman-y way, he's like, a priest, a rabbi, and a horse walk into a bar, and the bartender looks at all three of them and says, what is this, some kind of joke? And that was it. That was the joke that he told. And then Amanda comes back on screen and she's like, okay, thank you, Neil. It's probably one of my favorite moments. I just realized that I've been drawing and I haven't even and I forgot to turn the screen share back on. There we go. Okay, cool. Back on. Yay. You didn't really miss a whole bunch. I've just been working on the belly scales, so it's fine. There we go. By the way, sometime if you ever want a good laugh, there is a video out there of Disney artist paints along with Bob Ross. Check that out if you want a good laugh. if you want a good artist laugh. It's very, very silly. And especially because the artist in that video, she paints digitally. So having to do a digital paint along with a traditional painter poses some interesting challenges, I will tell you what. Also, I tried painting along with Bob Ross once when I was in high school. Whew. Oh boy. Oh, that was a disaster. It was such a disaster. Especially because it was part of a after school program. Because I was part of the National Art Honor Society, which is basically not just art club, but it was art club for overachievers. Kids who got A's in art class and stuff like that. So National Art Honor Society. And we thought that it was a smart idea to paint along with Bob Ross. And nope, it was a disaster. It did not go well. I mean, some of us did actually succeed in painting pine trees, and it was among the best pine trees that I've ever painted, but it was a little chaotic to set the workshop up in the first place. Especially because if you've ever watched a Bob Ross video, he doesn't start with a slow roll of the paints he's using. He'll just jump right into step one while the names of the colors he's working with scrolls along the bottom of the screen at lightning pace. And you have to be like, hold on, I need to pause the screen. What kind of white is he working with again? Oh, it was a disaster. It was a fun disaster, but it was a disaster. Oh. Okay, changing the links again. Just bringing it back to... You know what? I'll just have my website up here. Also, I'll take this time to shout out a blog post series that I started writing. So I started writing more blog posts because I'm cooped up indoors and there's a lot of thoughts that I have apparently. So I started a blog post series called Writing for Comics 101. The introduction post was posted yesterday. If you are interested in learning how to write for comics, I would recommend that you keep an eye on that blog post series. It's going to update on Fridays. But if you would like to keep better touch with all the updates that I'm doing, you can sign up for my email newsletter, and the sign up link for that is on my website. It's going to be at the bottom of Writing for Comics 101, an introduction, if you are so interested and want to keep up to date on that. I don't spam people on the email list. I only send it out once a week. And it just updates you on the webcomics that I'm doing, blog posts that I've posted recently, and all that stuff. It's also a good way to know when I'm available to do commissions. Which the last week I had announced that I was open for commissions, and now my commission roster is full. Sorry, it filled up really fast. Also, because of that, I am not doing requests. I know that there have been people who have been asking about, do I do requests on live streams? One day, maybe, just not this week. This week, I'm drawing dragons for Neverending, and among other art assets. There's a couple other art assets that still need to be developed. But yeah, Just no requests yet. One day there will be a live stream where I will draw requests. It's just not this week, not today. Sorry. When I do become available to take requests on a live stream, I'll announce it on the blog, which is on the bottom of the screen right now. So. Okay, let me see. Okay, because the pencils for that particular part of the dragon were looking really, really messy. Just making sure I'm getting stuff right. Okay. That's the back wing. Here we go. That's better. Oh, geez. Okay. Let me see how that looks. Not sure I like that. I might need to redraw the wing limb there because the muscular structure is a bit more complicated than that. So I'll figure that out here in a bit. Okay, quick question. What is your favorite part about drawing? Oh, that's a good question. Probably my favorite thing is just the act itself. I'm very much a person that tries to live in the moment because I have an anxiety disorder. And so my brain tends to do a lot of either past thinking or future thinking and tends to, what's the word that I'm looking for? It tends to disasterize is, I guess, the best word that I can think of. Like my brain has a tendency to think of the worst case scenarios almost all the time, whether it comes to like, well, what's this person going to say and what's something that I can say where I won't regret what I say. What's going to happen to me like 6 years into the future? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to the cats? The cats have been on the forefront of my mind lately because I had to take Scarlet to the vet last week. Just the act of drawing itself, usually it's the penciling stage where I feel the most present, where I feel the most like in the moment. So my favorite part of drawing is just the act of drawing because it makes me set aside those anxious thoughts and tune back into what's happening in front of me. Inking does that to a lesser extent, but penciling more so. Oh, back to the favorite part about drawing. Mine is doing the line art. It gets frustrating, but I love doing it anyway. I totally get that. Yeah, but art is one of my favorite forms of therapy. It was also the thing that helped me heal my wrist the fastest. Oh gosh, dang it. It did the thing again. Hold on. I don't know why it does this, but okay. Okay. Do not save. All right, I'm gonna need to restart the program again. Okay. Not sure why it's doing that today, but it's doing that a lot. Okay. Here we go. Okay, looks like it's back on screen. Good, yay. Okay. The program's probably hiccuping a little bit more often than usual because I am working with such a large file size. Because these dragons are not small file sizes. I don't know if you can see along the top of the bar there, but I am working at like a 14,000 by 9,000 pixels at 300 dots per inch, which is really, really high, admittedly, but I prefer working in 300 dots per inch for that crisp line quality. And then once I'm done inking, then I like shrink it down to 100 dpi, which is more crisp than the average image that's posted online, but not as data heavy as 300 dots per inch. Okay, let me try this now. Okay, there we go. That's much better. But yeah, drawing is one of the best forms of therapy that I've ever worked with. It actually helped a lot back in 2013, because in 2013, I broke my right wrist in a skating accident. It was a very stupid accident, but I learned my lesson. But I broke my wrist as a result, and for the first, I don't know, month, I could not draw. I could barely write. I had to learn how to write with my left hand, and I've since atrophied in that skill. But I had to do a lot of things with my left hand because my right had been essentially rendered useless. But I'm right-handed, so getting back into drawing was a unique experience. Actually, my co-creator, Chris Baranek, has been reposting the webcomic Validation on Instagram. Validation is the comic that Chris and I work on. I feel like, and this is just me saying this, because I am the artist of that comic, I feel like you can see the artistic difference between pre-wrist breaking and post-wrist breaking, because with Validation, we managed to get a 3-month buffer before my skating accident. But then the skating accident happened, and good thing we had that buffer, because with that accident, I pretty much could not draw Validation, or Johnson and Sir for that matter. So I was essentially not drawing for a good 3 to 4 weeks. And then after that period, the doctor took a look at my wrist, and thankfully, I only broke the biggest bone in the wrist. I did not break any of the smaller ones, which is good. If I had broken the smaller ones, then drawing would be way more painful. But I only broke the distal radius, which is the biggest bone in the wrist. It's also the end of the radial bone in your forearm. So sometimes I'll do this, and sometimes my wrist will pop in weird ways, and I'm like, that's uncomfortable. So I have to stop. It doesn't happen very often. More often than not, it's whenever I'm doing something like this, because this was the position that my wrist broke in, was in this position. So doing this, oh, sorry, I just heard it pop. Oh, it's so satisfying sometimes, but then other times, like whenever the weather's about to change, this will hurt. So will my tailbone, because my tailbone broke when I was in 8th grade. Fun. The two bodily injuries that I should not have sustained if I want to be a working artist are, of course, the injuries that I sustained, because God forbid. Okay, I'm going to repencil the wing here, or at least the joint where this wing meets with the shoulder, because this shouldn't look this way realistically. It's a little too noodly for me. Okay, pencil tool. There we go. That's better. That's better to me. Yeah, a little less noodly and a little more beefy looking, which is good. This is what I want. And there's the connective tissue, where the base part of the wing connects with the side body, because that's a feature on dragons. A bit more bat-like wings. So, okay, I've been binge watching and catching up on Critical Role and having it play in the background while I work on stuff. And I just reached the episode in campaign 2 where everybody's playing the Mighty Nine. I just reached the parts where, no, not just reached. I just wrapped up the parts where they had a guest star, Mika Burton. Mika Burton made a guest appearance on Critical Role. And at one point, her character and 2 of the other members of the Mighty Nine polymorphed into bats. Rini, Mika Burton's character, is actually a druid, so she just wild shaped into one. So she retained her intelligence, which is good because that's relevant to this moment. Because she went up to the bats because the group was trying to do a stealth mission, and she goes up to the bats and she's like, "Will you do us a favor?" And the bats were like, "Maybe. Want food. Do you like bread?" And one of the other members of the Mighty Nine, who used polymorph, and polymorph means that you do not retain your intelligence. You have the intelligence of whatever creature that you polymorphed into. The other character was like, "I like bread." And then all the other bats heard this and they were like, "I like bread. I like bread. I like bread." And it's like they're more interested in chiming in with the group than considering whether or not they like bread. And then it just became like an entire bit for about 10 minutes about bats loving bread. Well, hello. Oh, hey, dude, I gave you a shout out on here for your online store. Let me bring that up one more time. This is Sean Langley. Here is his store. If you wanted to check out any of his prints, I would encourage it because he's a cool artist. He's rad. There is his online store on Etsy. And saving that file real fast. Anyway, if you're big into like zombies and comic art and things like that, check out his stuff. It's really, really cool. All right, I'm going to leave that link up for a little bit longer. And getting back to inking dragons. Happy to have you with us, Sean. I do my best to live stream every Saturday. For a couple of weeks there, I was a guest on other folks' live streams, so, but I still made a point to do live streams on Saturdays. And that will be the case moving forward to the best of my ability. I do live streams every Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here we go. Turning off the pencil layer just to see how that looks. Heck yeah. That wing joint looks so much better to me now. I'm glad I fixed it. Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. No problem, my dude. What software are you using? I am using Clip Studio Paint Pro. I do not remember what version this is. It's like it's either 1.5 or 1.9. It's the latest version of Clip Studio Paint Pro. I'll go ahead and put my website link back up. I do have a couple of tutorials about using Clip Studio Paint. For those who are interested, you can find it on my website there on the bottom of the screen. But Clip Studio Paint Pro is the version that I use. I mentioned this before. Clip Studio EX is a bit more robust in terms of features and functionality, but Pro has a lot of good stuff to it. It's really good for folks who want the basics of Photoshop without the hardware hogging and without the RAM use. Like, this uses so much less RAM, even at the scale that I'm working at. And I'm working at a large freaking scale, because right now this dragon that I'm working on is like 14,000 pixels by almost 9,000 pixels at 300 dots per inch. This probably would have crashed other computers by this point. It definitely would have crashed my previous laptop, Odysseus, because Odysseus, grace bless him, he was not that powerful of a laptop. He was like 8 years old. Which I need to find someplace that will like accept old laptop donations, because he really should just be donated. I was thinking about keeping him and then installing Linux on his system and just replacing Windows 7, but God, it's such a pain in the ass to try to install Linux onto a Windows 7 machine. So I'm just going to be like, screw it, and donate the old laptop, because I think other people can put him to use. Okay, I'm going to need to rotate the canvas again. Manga Studio's newer thing. Yes, because it used to go by the name Manga Studio. Oh, gosh, dang it. I hate it when this happens. This is like the third time that this has done this. So, all right. I'm going to X out the program. I'm going to start it back up. Okay. Turning screen share back on. Ooh. Good, done, okay. And getting the copper dragon back up. There we go. It keeps doing that. It keeps like working fine, and then all of a sudden it reverts to not having any pen pressure sensitivity whatsoever. So I have to like turn it off and on again. Okay, I'm going to rotate the canvas a little bit and see if that helps with getting the swoop lines that I want. There we go. Yes, Clip Studio Paint used to be called Manga Studio, or rather Manga Studio was like older versions of Clip Studio Paint. The big difference, to my understanding, between Clip Studio Paint and Manga Studio is that Clip Studio Paint lets you work in color. Manga Studio did not used to have that functionality. It used to be like black and white almost exclusively and have like a bajillion million screen tones. Like the old, basically manga, like all of those gray tones in sheets. That was what Manga Studio had in lieu of colors. To my understanding, Clip Studio Paint now works in colors, and oh my God, it has such a wide array of colors, and I love it. I'll go ahead and throw this out here too. Clip Studio Paint is my preferred software for lettering comics. I do not like working with Illustrator in that regard. Clip Studio Paint has way better lettering tools, in my opinion. I get why people work with Adobe Illustrator. I would just rather work with Clip Studio Paint. That's my preference. There we go. Yeah. But yeah, Clip Studio Paint has color that you can paint in. It also has the lettering tools that I mentioned. There's still gray tones if you wanted to work with gray tones, if that's your thing. EX, or Clip Studio EX, to my understanding, actually has the ability to lay out pages for a book. So it can do a lot of the same functionality as Adobe InDesign in that regard. It's not perfect. For more details about that kind of functionality, I would ask my fellow comics buddy, Ben Wright Human. He's worked with Clip Studio EX, so he knows all the functionalities of it. You can find his stuff at bwhcomics.com. I had Manga Studio for a while and started dabbling in Clip, but I keep staying in my comfort zone of traditional medium. For a while, I worked in traditional media too, especially when I was working with Johnson and Sir and Charlie and Clow and The Case of the Wendigo. But when I got to The Legend of Jamie Roberts, I determined that I would still pencil and ink The Legend of Jamie Roberts traditionally, but I would do the colors digitally. That was what I determined when I started working on that comic. Largely because I feel like in a lot of ways, it's faster to color digitally than it is to work traditionally, especially since in traditional media, when I was coloring comics, I was using Copic markers, which those get really expensive to refill the inks with. There are cheap refill inks, or at least discounted refill inks, I should say, because cheap has a negative intonation to it. But I would recommend you check out scrapbookpal.com, because ScrapbookPal has discounted Copic markers and discounted Copic ink refills, because what they do is they buy them in bulk and then ship them stateside. And that's the important differentiator between ScrapbookPal and buying Copic inks off of Amazon. Because Amazon, if you buy Copic inks on Amazon, it ships straight from Japan. So it can take like a month for those to arrive. It's just better to order it from ScrapbookPal, because ScrapbookPal, everything is stateside. So it ships out faster, it arrives to you faster, and they have Copic markers often for half the price. So totally worth it. Scrapbookpal.com. Also, if you're just really big into scrapbooking, they've got like a lot of other scrapbooking stuff like marked down as well. So, hold on a sec. Excuse me, it's getting thirsty. Oh. Okay, just making sure that this is black as I intended. There is a way to like fix the color of the lines if the lines are not all completely black. Here we go. Okay. Rotating this back to center. There we go. Okay. Tail's looking pretty good. Yeah. Rest of them looks pretty good. Okay. Oh. Excuse me. That's better. Okay. Oh, the arm. Can't forget the arm inks. Yep. Well, let me try that again. Yep. That's a bit better. The progress I've made so far. Again, working with a large file here, so. But part of the big reason that the Dragon files are so large is because human for scale. Because whenever I create monster assets or character assets, I try to work on scale. So dragons be big, yo. Let me see how this looks with the pencil layer turned off. Okay, it's looking okay. I feel like I can fix this up a little bit though. So. There we go. Feels a little less centered now. All right, how's that look? Looks okay. I'm really tempted to just get rid of these little like individual scales altogether. Really tempted. I did not do that with the other dragon designs though. Like this is the brass dragon that I drew, and the brass dragons have these little like almost like coin scales because brass dragons, but the copper dragons are a bit more pointy. So, or at least from the visual reference that I saw, they had more pointy scales. So trying to retain that feel but I'm not sure how it's looking. I'm not 100% sold yet. Still using Copics, and man, I've got to look for good prices before I buy any. Usually Otaku Fuel. Good to know. Gotta bounce. Great chatting with you and watching you weave that digital magic. Thank you, my dude. Thank you for joining us. Is there a special pen you're using, and what was the tablet you have? The tablet I'm working with is a Wacom Intuos Pro. The pen that I'm working with is the pen that came with the tablet. The nice thing about this is that it has this, the camera will focus, it has this little like bar, and one feature's right click, the other feature is like a middle click type of a thing. I can use this end as an eraser, and then this, I can replace the nubbin on this because the base that it came with has nubbin refills underneath. So that's really nice. All right. I gotta check. Hold on. Gosh dang it! It did it again. Noticing a theme. All right. Hold on a sec. All right. Get this back up. And yeah, there we go. Pressure sensitivity is back. Okay. How's that looking? Okay, enough, I guess. Minimize it a little bit more. Oh, there. Yeah, I didn't used to work completely digitally, but for the sake of working on this project with Never Ending, I have been working completely digitally. It's just, it's easier. It's also like I've been able to back up everything because the team has digital backups for pretty much everything, which is nice. If you'd like to find out more about Never Ending, check out beneverending.com. Let me get the this back up on the screen. There we go. I did the oops thing again. And I gotta restart it. This is, yeah. This is a thing. This is my life now. Ugh. All right, get that back up. Open. Okay, good. Pressure sensitivity is back. Yay! Oh my gosh. I have lost track of how many times I have had to restart this program because it lost pressure sensitivity at some point. Ugh. It's definitely more than usual. Like, Clip Studio Paint usually doesn't do that, especially when I'm live streaming it. It usually does not freak out like that, but it has been doing that multiple times today. I'm going to be mindful of how frequently I flip back and forth between this piece of art that I'm working on and the live stream, because I'm noticing whenever I switch back and forth between the two programs frequently, that the pressure sensitivity somehow gets lost. I'm not sure why this is. Technology, it's weird. But I'm going to not be in the chat for a little while. so bear with me. Okay, I think this works. Well, I'm gonna shade this down under here. Give some implied depth here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Figuring out how I want to shade. In here. Oop. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do some simple hatching to shade this back wing here to get a little bit better depth. Make it look a little less flat. Working with my natural wrist tendency. Also, I'm not really drawing from the wrist at the moment. I'm drawing more from the elbow and keeping the wrist fairly steady. So, pro tip for anybody who wants to draw straight lines. You draw from the elbow, not the wrist. So rather than drawing like this, you draw like this. You draw from the elbow. That's what it looks like when you draw from the elbow. There was an earlier live stream that I did before where I shared this pro tip that like blew my friend Chloe's mind, and she like was freaking out in the chat like, "Oh my god, I need to put this to use." It was a technique for how to draw the placement of elbows. So if you want to check that out, check out one of the previous live streams. Pretty sure it's the live stream where I am drawing. I'm definitely drawing the half orcs in that particular live stream. Because I have half orc characters that I like to roleplay as in Dungeons and Dragons. And there was a live stream where I was drawing both of my half orc characters. I have a half orc druid named Ollie, and she talks a lot like this, man. And then I also have a half orc paladin to the goddess of beauty, Soon, and he is just, he's so overly extra, and he just loves everything, and it's just, it's delightful. Mwah, chef's kiss. Like, I have so much fun role-playing as those two characters. Also, it's just really fun to, because I know that there are players out there who like to min-max their characters. What min-maxing means is trying to maximize all of your ability scores. I am not really all about that. I like having characters who have like an astounding amount of points in one ability, so they're like the masters of the thing, and then like a stupid low amount in another ability. So in the case of Ollie, she's like super freaking wise, because she's a druid. Druids need a lot of wisdom for their class to work. But yeah, she's like super freaking wise, but her intelligence is the lowest stat that she has. So like, it is great to roleplay as a character who is smart, but not book smart. She's experience smart. Meanwhile, the half-orc paladin that I have is almost the opposite. I mean, his intelligence isn't super duper high, but he is very charismatic. His charisma is like the highest stat that he has, and he is just so lovable. He's delightful and such a treat to have in the room with you. And yet his wisdom is an 8. So he will do really reckless stuff. And good luck trying to convince him of any kind of argument that you might have, because then you're basically talking to a brick wall. But as it turns out, his insight is not super duper great either. So he's like really trusting, which can be a problem. Which is also why he's not very good at keeping secrets. Because I've determined that's a character flaw of his, even before I started role-playing as his character, is that because his wisdom is so low, he's not good at keeping secrets. So it's not like he spills them at every opportune moment, but like he just won't stop himself if there is a secret that should be secret, but he determines, nah, I'm gonna share it. I feel like it needs to be shared in this moment. Because that's just the kind of character that Vernon is. His name is Vernon. He's an absolute ham and it's delightful, and I love him. Okay, the inks for this dragon are done. So I'm going to X out of this for now. Because I've been working at such a large file and I need to give Clip Studio Paint a break. So before I get to anything else, I'll just check out the comments here. Thanks, Kelsey. This was awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Stopping in to say hi. Love the dragon. Thank you, CB. For those who are new or have just joined, CB is Chris Baranek. She and I created Validation, which you can check out at the link on the screen right now, validationcomic.com. Hoping to work on the next strip before the end of the day, Chris, just to keep you in the loop. So, okay, now that I've drawn this dragon, I'm really tempted to start working on another dragon, but I could also work on some goblins, or I could work on something else entirely. So, chat, let me know what you think I should work on next while I get some more water. Should I work on another dragon, or more goblins, or something else? Let me know in the comments. I will be right back. Okay. Oh, we got one vote already. Goblins! Okay, I'll work on some goblins. I have an idea for a goblin that I want to draw next. I will, however, bring up a visual reference. So give me just a sec. I'm gonna get goblins. Seems to be a popular vote, so definitely goblins. Goblins is happening. The chat, there's a little bit of a lag in chat, which is why I'm only just now seeing these votes. So the monsters that I am drawing are being drawn for Never Ending. You can check out the platform at beneverending.com. For folks who want to make little animated bits of their favorite moments from a recent D&D session, but they don't have any artistic skill of their own, Be Never Ending or the Never Ending app will make that easier for you. It's an app intended to help bring your visual stories to life. So it's for people who want to make an animated story but cannot draw. That's the aim with Neverending, is to make that a little bit easier for you. So check it out, beneverending.com. I'm going to start working on some goblins next. Monster sheet. Wait, no, actually, I have individual components for this little guy. Bringing them up here. This is one goblin that I've already finished. I will bring up a new one. Oh, you know what? Get the dimensions of this guy. Okay. About square-ish works here. Oh, one thing I can do. Just to get a sense of scale. Okay. I'm going to set this at 25% opacity there. Okay. Okay, I've almost got little bat ears. I love it. Stepping into a bucket on accident. You'll just have to stay tuned at beneverending.com and possibly sign up for the email newsletter for why it is that I am drawing a goblin with a foot stuck in a bucket. Or just watch Be Neverending on Twitter at Be Neverending. Just working on a rough pencil layer here. That's a bit better. The foot needed a little reproportioning. Still got to work on some kobolds, because kobolds are like super popular along with goblins. That's been one of the more popular requests on Twitter, because every once in a while Jamie will go on Twitter and be like, so what do you think Kelsey should draw next? And a lot of people are either goblins or kobolds. Tends to flip-flop between the two. going to make sure that this is proportional to, I mean, it's a little small. Hold on. Enlarge this just a wee bit. And there it goes. Okay. Boop. Yoink. There we go. That's a bit better. Boop. Okay. Make sure that this is like, that's just a little bit too large-ish. Nah, I think this would work. Yeah, I think I could. Okay, we're progress so far. I love that one. Me too. This is so much fun. I also have a color version of it. Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can bring it up. Because I was asked to also color some of these goblins that I've drawn. So this is the goblin in color. I also did another goblin in color. This little guy. Yeah. I gotta say, these two goblins were the first goblins that I've ever drawn, and I had a lot of fun drawing both of them. It was delightful. All right. No. Okay, hold on. Yay! Okay. Just making sure that the pressure sensitivity was still there. I've been having so many issues with the pressure sensitivity on the tablet this live stream. I think because the dragon file I was working with was so freaking huge. Oh, the line definitely does not need to be that thick, though. About there. That's a little too thin. There we go. Just right. Who knew that goblins would be so easy to do? They just basically have a football head. I actually based a lot of the head structure of the goblins, or at least my interpretation of goblins, on another creature that I drew a lot back in, God, 2011, 2012, that I called the Whatchama, which was a short for the Whatchamacallit. And the Whatchamacallit basically had a goblin head, but like a swan neck, and then the body of a lion, and then like a long freaking tail with a little bushy thing at the end. I had drawn the Whatchama for a comic idea that I never really got to draw, which is fine because the comic idea was a little, how do I put this? Tired. Like the premise for it was very, very tired. So it was better that it just be put to rest. Which, speaking of, if you would like to read about how to write better comics, I started a new blog post series over at kelseydcrawford.com all about how to write better comics, which is Writing for Comics 101. I'm actually working on next week's post after the live stream wraps up. Some of the talking points I will be talking about in Writing for Comics 101 include actually good character development, aka why a cool looking character design is not enough to save you, why dialogue is more than just quippy one-liners, and how to design a page to make your reader actually want to read the page. Because I'm addressing a lot of the things that I've noticed in aspiring comic artists. Because here's the thing. I'm the chief creative officer for Neverending Ink now, and that requires looking at other people's art portfolios, and this includes talking with a lot of people who have told me they want to be, they wanted to be professional comic artists, but then they got dissuaded for a variety of reasons, I feel like. And, you know, most of them are legitimate, but one commonality that I have noticed among people who want to get into comics, try comics, and then get discouraged and leave comics is that while they may be technically proficient artists, they cannot write a story. So I started Writing for Comics 101 as a way to help comic artists or aspiring comic artists make the transition from just drawing the same character on repeat to actually constructing a story that people will want to read. A lot of it is going to be, or at least the first couple of posts in the series are going to be character centric, because I am of the firm belief that characters are what make a plot progress. Because okay, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Disney movie Hercules, but that is very much a story where plot contrivance superseded character development. Like, a lot of the reason that plot even happens is because the plot said so. Not because the characters wanted it, but because the plot was like, this is a thing. Now contend with the thing. And then the characters were like, but this isn't natural. So I'm hoping with this particular blog post series, Writing for Comics 101, I can help aspiring comic writers and comic artists who want to write better stories be able to develop their characters better so that they have less plot contrivances and more natural character-driven events happen. Hold on, I need to redraw that hand. That looks awful. Made progress so far. I'll do one more shout out. Here we go. Here is my online shop link. I have a variety of stuff listed for sale, actually. Johnson & Sir, the first ever comic that I got printed, is marked down from $15 to $11. So now's a good time to jump on that if you would like to get your hands on a copy of Two Elf Cups in Fantasyville and the Magical Monarchy that they must manage. There's also Dragons, a sketchbook, which is marked down. That one is $2.50 off the original list price. Dragons' Sketchbook is the most recent sketchbook that I got published. What I do is I do Inktober every year, and then at the end of Inktober, I compile the sketches that I've just made, and I put them into a sketchbook. And then I put that sketchbook up on Kickstarter for folks to back if they want to get a copy of it. This has been a thing that I've been doing for 3 years now, and I fully intend on doing it again this year. Last year's theme was dragons, because when I do Inktober, I ignore the prompts that are posted on social media, and I just draw whatever theme that I want. The first year that I did it, it was witches. The second year I did it, it was gods and spirits. Last year, I did dragons, because I wanted to draw dragons. Which, of course, you saw me draw a dragon earlier today, so thank you for that. Here we go. Okay. Which I should decide on a theme for, but I have a good chunk of the year to figure out what my theme for this year's Inktober will be. I got some time. Let's see. I think that's all the inks. Yeah, that's all the inks. Cool. Oh, let me look at the reference really fast. Okay. I'll fix this up real quick. That eraser does not need to be that big. I'm going to fix that. There we go. Much better. Okay. Get some smudge and some dirt and scritches on the things. Yeah. Oh, patch. I'll make this a solid black. There we go. There. That hand looks way better now that the meat of the palm is actually drawn. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And there we go. Little goblin. I just came up with another idea for another goblin. So, new layer. I need to lower that jaw a little bit to make this expression work. There we go. Wrong direction. There we go. Okay. Moving that up just a wee bit so that I can draw the feet. Or the foot, rather, the visible foot. Oh, what just buzzed on my phone now? There we go. Easier to pick up. Okay. Nothing too big happening on the phone right now, so I'll just set it aside. Oh my God, now the phone's blowing up. Jeez. Well, the phone's going to have to wait. I'm in the middle of drawing a panicked goblin. Panicked goblins are best goblins. Draw the little, okay, I'm going to make sure that I got those little like what lines. That's the technical term for them, by the way. I'm a professional comic artist. Bring that back down again so I can draw the sword. Little winky broken short sword. Because goblins. I'll be truthful, I have not played a goblin in Dungeons and Dragons yet. I would play one in the current campaign that I'm playing in, but the rules that the DM set for this particular campaign that I'm a part of is no expansions, just what you would find in the player's handbook only. So Xanathar's Guide to Everything is not part of this campaign, unfortunately. But it makes sense because when we started this particular campaign, it was intended for folks who would go to the comic shop. And the easiest book to get a hands on is the player's handbook. It's like, wizards, I love you, but your books are expensive. I recognize that D&D Beyond is a thing, but not everybody knows that D&D Beyond is a thing. Okay. Okay, there we go. Basically telling a story with these three poses here. So we got the yeah, and then we got the what, and then we got the no. I'm having a lot of fun with these goblins. Your Inktober pieces are amazing. Thank you. After Scoot, have a great afternoon. You too. Thank you for being here for a bit. But thank you for the compliment on the Inktober pieces. My goodness. Yeah, I do have 3 Inktober sketchbooks. All of them are available at kelseydcrawford.storenv.com. The Dragons a sketchbook is discounted. It's usually $5. It's now $3.50. So if you would like to get your hands on it and know what the hype is about, check it out. Okay, the pressure sensitivity is still there. Yay, I'm so happy. Okay. Oh, the arm bracer. The really janky arm bracer. Oof. Okay. You know, there's a part of me that jokingly wants to say, for Inktober this year, I'm going to draw goblins. But I think that's just going to be a thing that I draw for this next month. It's just goblins. So no need to make an Inktober challenge out of it. It's just a thing that I'm going to do. I mean, I got to do that for Never Ending anyway, which that's the app that I am drawing these for, is Never Ending. So yeah, just going to be drawing goblins for this foreseeable future. Outside of comics and other commissions that I've got going on, which I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not available for commissions at this time. I was last week, but those rosters got full real fast. So I am at the moment not available for commissions, but keep your eyes open. Hopefully in the next month or so that may change, but we'll see. I do still plan on moving to a new apartment because I need to move to a new apartment before the end of May. It's going to be an interesting experience to see how that's going to go, considering everything going on right now. There's not super amounts of pressure from the people whom I am renting this house from right now, but I would prefer to move out before the end of May, if only because the person who will be moving into this house by the end of May is like, he's going to be bringing dogs. My cats do not like dogs. They are cranky little old lady cats. They're like 14 years old. They will be 14 next month, and they do not like other animals, especially dogs. Which is a shame, because especially my little sister's dog, Eddie, he is like the sweetest little dog. He is what we jokingly call a trap dog. He is the kind of dog that would make non-dog people say, maybe I should get a puppy. No, Eddie is just that sweet of a dog. Do not believe it. No, Eddie is a sweet dog, but he's such a wimp. Like, anytime that the cats like hiss at him, he just kind of like tucks his tail and hides behind Kia's legs. And I'm like, honey, don't let the cats boss you around like that. And he does. He lets the cats boss him around. But to be fair, though, Eddie is also like roughly the size of a cat. Like, he's some kind of a Jack Russell Terrier Beagle mix. So he's little. He's stinky, but he's little. Surprisingly, doesn't bark unless it's the mailman. God forbid if you're the mailman, then he will give you warning woofs. It's the only time that I've ever heard that dog bark, other than like around my Uncle Ken. I've only heard this dog bark like 3 times in the 5 or so years that I've known this dog. He's just that sweet of a pupper. But again, trap dog. Do not believe that other dogs behave as well as Eddie does. Okay, I'm only going to be streaming for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to be wrapping up the stream. All right, how's this looking? Okay. Haven't drawn the teeth yet. Teeth are next. Okay. And let me try that again. Eee, big neck. I'll try that again. There we go. Okay, sip of water. Okay. Whew. Thirsty work. Okay, I got to turn this off periodically just so I can see what I'm drawing. Lord. There we go. Okay, that's actually looking pretty decent if I say so myself. Oh, excuse me. Yoink. Get the ears. Yeah, there we go. Or the bucket. Sorry, I just flashed to Team Fortress 2 animation involving a bucket. Where Spy just approaches all the rest of the team and he's like, "This is a bucket." And Soldier's like, "Dear God. There's more. No!" No, one swipe. One swipe, I will get this right. That's good. It's good for now. I might fix it later. Yeah, hold on. There, that works. There we go. Okay, I just realized what time it is. All right, so it is now 3 o'clock. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Just gonna zoom out so you can see what has been drawn so far. Still working on the inks, but this is what I've got so far. And yeah, all right. I'm gonna work on this, and then I'm gonna touch up on the dragon that I was working on earlier, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Thank you so much for joining me in today's live stream. Today's live stream was brought to you by CyberCon, RathaCon, and Never Ending. You can find out about all three of those in the links down in the description. Check it out. You can find out more about me and stay in touch over at kelseydcrawford.com. That is the best place to go to find out when my next live stream is, when I'm available for commissions, and all that good stuff. Bye. Loved watching you draw. Thank you for joining us, and I'm glad that you loved it. I'm glad that you got a kick out of it. Comments? Yes. All right. Yeah. All the information, including social media links and everything else, you can find at kelseydcrawford.com. Thank you so much for watching. You are awesome.